Good morning. I'm Sarah Mitchell from Helping Babies Sleep. I'm a sleep consultant and I also have 8 years of health education. I'm a chiropractor by training, but I've been helping parents get their kids to sleep for over 5 years. And today we're going to talk about when is stomach sleeping safe, right? There's that moment when he or she rolls in the crib and you think, is she going to be okay? So for this today, I'm going to mainly discuss the American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines, and I'm going to post the link to that document in this in the comments for this post. So the thing to know is that there is no universal age when stomach sleeping is safe. And from my experience helping hundreds of kids get better sleep, most kids actually prefer to sleep on their stomachs. I think there's something innate about having something on their face, the mattress, that's very comforting. And often when kids are working through that rolling period, when they finally can sleep on their stomach, they end up sleeping for longer stretches of time. But how do you know when that is safe? So the American Academy of Pediatrics says that there is no universal age when stomach sleeping is safe. It's largely based on your child's motor development and strength. And I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to gauge when that is ready. Since the American Academy of Pediatrics started the Backs to Sleep campaign in 1992, where you always put your child to sleep on their back, they've actually decreased the incidence of SIDS by 50%. So it's working and it's significant. And so we always want to be putting our babies down to sleep on their back up until 1 year of age. So how do you know when they roll over if that's safe or not? So there's no universal guideline to say, yes, it's safe or no, it's safe. But basically, what the American Academy of Pediatrics has given is they say if your child can roll from back to front, and then again from front over to back, then they are safe to sleep on their stomach. The idea here is that if you've got the core strength to roll over each way, then your child can put themselves into a safe position. So what do you do when they roll over to their stomach? So according to the Academy of Pediatrics, you want to roll them back over onto their back. Here's my experience from these types of things. So again, most kids will sleep better and longer on their stomachs, but when they're learning to roll, they'll roll to the front, and even though they like that position, they'll panic because they feel like they can't roll back, and so then they won't settle. And I always use the term when I'm guiding people is we help kids who can't help themselves. So if he's feeling stuck or panicky, even though he'll ultimately probably want to sleep in that position, you're going to have to go in there and roll him back over, okay? The other approach you could take, which would kind of go against the American Academy of Pediatrics, is that you would go in and put your hand on your child's back and soothe them in that position. So they are having reassurance that you're there and that everything's okay, and they can fall asleep in that position. Again, that goes against the kind of general guideline that they need to roll forward and backwards, but knowing that most kids will ultimately end up wanting to sleep on their stomach, you kind of help them along in that. The other thing that you can do, right, is you want to offer lots of time to practice rolling during the day so you can get over that bump. This whole period of that I can roll one way but not the other way is awkward for everybody. Everybody goes through this around 4 to 5 months, sometimes in there. And it's really painful at night because basically you'll get up and go in at some point to either help them roll back or offer some comfort or do something to help them out during this awkward rolling stage. It shouldn't last more than about 2 weeks, but those will be 2 long weeks. What you should not do is put in any kind of positioner to kind of prevent them from rolling, such as, noodles under the sheets, pool noodles. Any type of positioner, is discouraged by the American Academy of Pediatrics. All right, what else did I want to tell you about? All right, so just to reiterate then, if they can roll from front to back and back to front, then they're safe to be sleeping on their stomach. In the interim, you're going to have to help them out by rolling them back over. Now, what do you do if your child starts to make a game of it? If they start to realize if they roll onto their stomach and cry out that you will come in and flip them back over, and then they keep rolling because they like the attention that they're getting from it. Well, with this, I kind of use the same strategy that I use with kids who throw pacifiers out of their crib or throw their loveys out of their crib, is that you take a little bit longer to respond each time. So you're always going to go in, But maybe you realize that your child's making a game out of this now, and so you make it a little bit more uncomfortable for them with each roll or toss of the pacifier or love. You take longer and longer to respond to discourage the behavior. What else do you need to know about this? You know what? Basically, that's all there is really with stomach sleeping. Know that most kids will ultimately sleep better and longer when they can sleep on their stomachs, but there's no universal age for when that is safe. It has to do with their ability to roll from one side and then back again. And in theory, you're thinking about the core strength. You really want to be, it's protecting the airway, right? So if your child can lift their head up, if they have the strength to move that around, that will be able to protect the airway. The other thing to take into consideration is that you want your child to be sleeping on a firm mattress, because if they roll onto their stomach and it's a soft mattress, that can make it more difficult to protect the airways. That's another suggestion from the American Academy of Pediatrics. And if you have any questions, if you're watching, please feel free to post. Otherwise, I think I'm going to call it a day. That was just a short little ditty on stomach sleeping safe, and I will post the link to the blog post as well if you want to take a look at that. Thanks.